live? I
Speak for
can only
yourself, you youngin.
wait a minute. Where did Hot Mic 3 go?
Hot Mike, what are you? You're hooting at the wrong owl, you nursery rhyming can of beans.
Should we turn this into a debate? We could try to make something like that happen. What do you think?
Keep it in your hat, you old dribble mouth milk liquor.
I may have wanted to restart my computer before this started. Otherwise, you're fired.
You're all strawberry and no preserves, you foghorn blowing trolley jumper.
Hey, could you tell the story about your leg hair again, if you wouldn't mind?
My leg. What? What are you talking about? You lemon squeezing chicken little.
Is this the most awkward start of the show we've ever had?
I literally don't know how to turn this off.
If you just click the same filter, it'll go off, I think. We'll see. As I try to start my watch party and get the show actually started. So, wow. I love this. All right. We're going to have a fun show today. I can't wait. So, it seems like right now is as good a time as any to start the show. What do you say, Joe?
Hit it.
Welcome to hotlou Happy Hour. I am your host, Lou Abramowski, or somewhat cognitively known as hotlou.
I am the unicorn Joe Biden, Mike Franklin.
I am so glad that this is working out like it. I mean, this is actually way better than I could have possibly imagined.
All right, this is the lunatics are here for this content. Ooh, I'm turning on my light here, my circadian
light. Your light isn't the only thing turned on right now.
Ooh.
Oh God, see, now two of us are horny. Okay, so enough with the double entendres. Man, is this just going to be like 45 minutes of you just enjoying the toy?
Yeah, I've never really played with this before.
Well, I'm enjoying. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this today and beyond today. And this is so great. Maybe one day you'll find the coronavirus bat. Oh, wow. That's a really good one. You're finding way more than I seemingly could not find. So,
and I can barely, oh, wow. Look at that. When I talk, it's just yo-yos. Hello, pizza.
Yeah. Look at the cheese stretch. All right. I'm going to ask you to turn down your volume just a little bit because I keep getting an echo on my end.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, we're all good. So one of the fun things that we have an opportunity to test here is not only our snap filters for hotlou Happy Hour, but also I'm going to just call it the MOCA test. So I'm hopeful that you got an opportunity yesterday to see Chris Wallace's interview with Trump. Did you get a chance to walk through it yesterday?
No, I saw some highlights, if that's the word, today.
Yeah.
But I did not watch the entire 45 minutes, nor would I ever invest 45 minutes to watch this or any president speak to a news journalist.
Yeah, I had to, just because there was, a handful of things kind of coming out of it. So I did watch the whole thing last night, but there was really only about a 30-second snippet that I think was worthwhile, because there's a bunch of weird things that I thought were missed. Like, he didn't ask a single Roger Stone question, which, to our, speaking to our point that we made a week ago on hotlou Happy Hour, the Friday night news dump looks like it was like entirely successful, because not a single person is even outraged about the Roger Stone thing. Only 9 days removed from it happening. So that was pretty successful. But the point of the interview that I was most excited about was Trump bragging about passing this cognition test, which I so I downloaded it, and I actually went as far as to go pay the company to be able to try to administer it. But I don't know what's happening. I'm failing the cognition test about trying to actually administer it. So the hotlou happy hour budget is $10 more broke today for no good reason, because we're not going to be able to administer it the way that we hoped. But I was hoping either I or you could act as Donald Trump and we could administer it from one to the other, just to see how difficult it really is. But as I try to administer it, there's a couple things that it's just, there's only one part of it that I'm not entirely clear on how to exactly measure it. But this is it. This is the full cognition test, and it looks like we lost our camera again there.
Well, yeah, I was trying to turn off the snap camera because we're finished with that portion of the show, and you seem to have disappeared.
Yeah, I think what you need to do is you need to go into Zoom and change your settings from the camera from SnapCam back to your
That's what I did.
device.
This is what you get.
Well, maybe we'll have to go back on SnapCam, and you could become Joe Biden, because that's one of the things that we could do is we could administer the test. And you could be Joe Biden, and I could end up. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
he's back. So, it's not clear just from the sheet of paper here that I'm sharing, like how to exactly administer the test. So unfortunately, we won't be able to take it live because I don't even know. It's not clear from the paper version how you're supposed. Like, I don't know if you just hand the subject the test, but that doesn't really make much sense in this. But suffice to say, Trump was really bragging about the fact that he aced this test. But it's really interesting because if you look at the bottom here, he apparently got 30 out of 30, which is great, but really this is kind of a pass fail thing. So you need to be above 26 or more and you pass. But if you get below 26, you potentially have some cognitive ability or cognition capacity that doctors worry about. And the funny part of the story was that Trump went as far as to say that he was proud of the fact that he aced it, but really acing it is just like the baseline. And as you can see, all of the questions are pretty easy. And Chris Wallace, as he was interviewing him, pointed out the fact that the test is very rudimentary, right? So the idea is to figure out what this path is here. So you go 1 to A, 2 to B, 3 to C, 4 to D, 5 to E, and then you apparently are done. You copy a cube, you draw a clock at 10 past 11, presumably gets even easier. It's like, okay, pick the photo of a lion. I'm not sure if you are supposed to say what the animal is. I worry about Hot Mic 3 in this particular instance.
Oh yeah, that thing on the right. Actually, that looks to be a dromedary, which is fine. This is okay.
Yeah, that does not appear to be a hybrid camel. One of the things that I thought was maybe on the harder end was specifically, are you willing to become a test subject for a moment?
I mean, do I have an option?
Not really. Okay, so we're gonna take away the screen here in a second, but the 5 words you have to remember, and we're gonna test you 5 minutes from now too.
Okay.
To see if you can remember, but it's face, velvet, church, daisy, and red. Do you want me to repeat that?
No.
Okay. Are you okay? So now I'm going to take it back, and now you have to remember the 5 words.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I'm going to pretend I didn't see that.
What?
Okay, go ahead and repeat the 5 words.
Church lady, velvet cake.
Nailed it. So that one was
part of that was it was only 4 words.
Good enough. So that was kind of hard because you did have to, there's a delayed recall of like 5 minutes later that you're supposed to ask the person again. I think that I might fail that one.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I had considered cheating.
Yeah, and you can give cues for it later on, but the the other one that was going to be interesting was repeating the numbers, but given that the numbers started with 218, I thought it might be a little bit too easy for us. For the lunatics who don't know, we're from an area code of 218, so that might have been a little bit too simple. But the alphabet one was pretty straightforward. The subtract by 7 starting at 100. This is one that I, probably unsurprising to some of the lunatics and to you, that I just flew down. I could get to 0 pretty quickly on that one, but I could see how somebody might have a little bit of a challenge with that. And maybe repeating this entire sentence, a couple of these different sentences might be a little bit more challenging. But then 5 minutes later, remembering those 5 words with no cues, I thought that could be probably the only part of the test that I would really consider it what Trump described as very hard, which I thought was kind of silly. Maybe I'm being unfair. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, and I had heard about the kerfuffle on this exam, and I mean, whatever. I suppose, to put it in the best possible light, is and I did not watch the interview, as I mentioned. Is he suggesting that Joe Biden would not be able to pass this test? I mean, was this all a kind of a setup to reinforce the idea that?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a setup there. What was interesting is that Chris Wallace, at some point when they were talking about the subtract by 7 from 100, Trump, it appears that Chris Wallace is trying to see if Trump will do it on camera right in front of him. And he obviously and wisely does not take the bait. And then Chris Wallace, it sounds like Chris Wallace is in the background starting to count. You can hear somebody say 93, 86. So it's kind of funny that happens. But then they kind of set up Trump to, say something along the lines of, yeah, Biden's not going to be able to pass this test.
Sure.
And then Chris Wallace brings up this poll that shows that the American public basically believes that both Trump and Biden don't have the mental capacity to hold office, but that Biden at this point has a little bit of a lead in terms of the public's trust.
Really?
Yeah, which, it was a Fox News poll, so who knows? But that's interesting that they were willing to share that. As something that we've kind of talked about now on the show a couple of times, that Fox News is certainly seeming to I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say turn on Trump as much as kind of follow what the polls are saying, right? They seem to be pandering to the audience more than anything else.
And that's fine. Chris Wallace is an actual journalist. I mean,
right.
He's not a Fox News talking head. I mean, as far as the Fox universe goes, and actually, I think he's kind of made a point over the years to repeatedly let people know he's a Democrat. Which is more than I could say about the other anchors. Not that there's much doubt, but I've always actually thought he was a pretty good journalist. So that he was tough on the president doesn't really. I mean, that's his job. He should be. Yeah.
And Trump does attack him at some point, and Fox immediately rolls this clip where he's hard on a couple of Democrats, which was pretty interesting. But they had an opportunity to add in a couple of those recordings after the fact. But overall, it was just kind of fascinating to see Trump brag about passing this test that really you're supposed to ace it. And if something comes across as hard, it's actually a signal that something could be wrong.
No, I guess now that I've seen the test in action, Velvet, Daisy, Fan, Red, Church.
It's pretty close. Let's see. What was it? Face, Velvet, Church, Daisy, Red. Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
All 5 of them. Yeah. With or without your cheat sheet.
There's no cheat sheet.
So, so that was kind of an interesting part of the, that back and forth. But the other fascinating part of this whole thing that I thought was really bizarre is evidently Trump elected to hold the interview outside. And as I'm sure you're familiar with what the weather was like in Minnesota on Saturday, that's what it was like during the interview in Washington, D.C. And Trump is like, there's like beads of sweat coming down on his face. And for some reason, Chris Wallace, it's not happening to Chris Wallace, even though they had several times remark about how hot it is. And Chris Wallace like goes out of his way both times to say that Fox suggested having it inside in the air conditioning. And both times Trump said, no, this is my idea. It's very bizarre. So maybe that was an additional cognitive test. I don't know.
I guess we get the leaders we deserve.
Yeah, this is probably our fault. So that's really the only thing I wanted to talk about. And I was really hoping to administer the test one way or the other. But unfortunately, the MOCA website, mocatest.org, MOCA test, or the Montreal Cognitive Assessment test, understandably is being hammered. Like every third page that you try to reload right now is coming back with a server overloaded error. But they got my $10, so they can't complain too much.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was really going to be the show for today. I honestly didn't pay too much attention to the news. And today I wanted to mention that we've got two awesome guests this week. Tomorrow, we have Evan from FR Secure coming on. He's the CEO of a security company that I'm excited to talk to him because last week, briefly we mentioned it a couple times. I mean, maybe one of the biggest security breaches that does not appear that it was from Twitter, but it was from somewhere. And I haven't even looked into this yet, but it was probably from a third-party app that, like, Bill Gates, I think if I remember right, Drake, and maybe Elon Musk, and a handful of just like gigantic Twitter accounts got hacked and started basically posting this Bitcoin scam. And evidently I think I had mentioned that we would probably be able to see the total amount that was scammed out of people. And it was ended up being about $120,000. And Evan, in another interview, said, it was, while that seems like a gigantic amount of money, this is...
What's that, like 6 Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's exactly 12 Bitcoin, or not exactly, but somewhere between like 12 and 14 Bitcoin. But the point being that, like, for the power that this exploit had, it failed miserably for the impact that it could have had, right? Like, given the fact that the accounts that did get compromised were so gigantic, and yet only, I mean, it was $1,000 scam. So every transaction was worth 1,000. That only 120 people fell for the scam. Really speaks volumes to the failure, because it could have been used far more dangerously or to far greater, like, damaging effect, right? So we'll talk to him about that tomorrow.
The lesson I'm learning from this is that Twitter generally sucks and you shouldn't go on it. And also, people are generally able to take care of their own stuff.
We'll get to talk to Evan about that tomorrow. I'm pretty excited.
I am too. That'll be great.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. We're not really talking about coronavirus stuff. We're not really talking about election stuff, though I have a feeling some of that stuff might come up. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is the reigning MVP from the American Ultimate Disc League, a guy named Ben Yacht, is joining the show on Thursday. And we're going to talk sports. We're going to talk, especially with Ben, like Ben has had a really interesting trajectory to his whole career, because he went from basically nobody to the potential college MVP in about 36 months. And then just a couple of years later, ends up winning the MVP in the Pro Ultimate League. And he's from Minneapolis. He's a New York resident now, but he's come back during coronavirus to escape what had been the previous epicenter to the coronavirus in the United States. And that'll be on Thursday. And we'll be streaming that on the Ultimate page as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Ben and I go way back to literally when he was basically like a good rec player to now being one of the most recognizable names in the world for Ultimate Frisbee. So that'll be cool. So I know we got to cut it short today, but hopefully you guys are now starting your watch parties. You're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, you're taking cognitive tests. You're subscribing on YouTube too. So I just happen to notice people are starting to watch on YouTube, which is awesome. This does stream live on YouTube as well, in case you want to go there. It's just a little bit harder for us to interact with everybody. And I know people like to listen to it a little bit differently that way too. So yeah, quick show today. Sorry we didn't get to do the test live, but we got now Snapchat filters. So the show got a huge upgrade.
I'm very pleased with this. That was a live debut of my Snapchat ability, Snapcam ability, and I will be playing with this for approximately the next 24 hours.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, as he plays with it, we're talking about the Snapcam here. We're not getting back to the horny talk that kicked off the show.
Thank God.
Is anybody watching anymore?
No.
Yeah.
They've all gone to the bats.
Yeah, I don't blame them. All right, we're going to wrap up this disaster of a show. And I hope you get, you know what? Hit a bunch of like buttons if you prefer the disastrous shows. And if you don't, give us an angry emotion or reaction. We haven't had an angry emotion in a while. Or at least since probably about 6 p.m. yesterday. Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning into this very weird hotlou happy hour. I'm your host, hotlou.
I used to be a bat, Mike Franklin.
We'll talk.